I'm Debbie Peverell, and you're listening to the weekly tip from basicboardgovernance.ca. Today I'm talking about risk assessment. It is the job of a board of an organization to look around and see what could go wrong and figure out how to fix it. So we call that risk assessment. You identify all risks. What is the risk of fire, flood, employee theft? What else could go wrong? You make a list. Then the next step after you identify the risks is to figure out how likely they are to occur. How likely is an earthquake? How likely is a fire? How likely is it that we're going to lose our funding? All of those things are risks. When you have this list, the next step is to decide what you're going to do about the risk. You have risk of fire, flood, earthquake, well, you probably get insurance. So that's called transferring the risk. You find somebody else who will, for a fee, take this risk off your hands. You can also mitigate a risk. An example of worrying about employee theft. If you do a really good job hiring people, and you get people bonded, then that reduces the risk of employee theft. I see this most often around events. An organization is making a decision about holding an event. And if you go and ask your insurer whether they would insure this event, sometimes you get some valuable information about what the risks are. Classic example is the lobster supper. You ask about insurance for the lobster supper and you hear words like has to be in a commercial kitchen, you have to have people have food handling courses, Department of Health, there's a bunch of things you have to do in order to have that event insured or to have the event. I mean, you can have the event without doing all those things, but then you're completely liable if anybody gets sick. So I have seen a number of events canceled when they realized that the insurer didn't want to insure it because the risks were too high. So this is the whole purpose. You do your risk assessment, you analyze it, you figure out how to treat the risks so that you are safeguarding your organization. And that's the board's responsibility, to do a risk assessment to make sure that the organization is going to be able to survive should any of these risks actually take place.